Welcome to this getting started video for the Modor DR-2, where I'll go through the essential functions in the order in which you may need them. A quick look at the back panel. Got power, MIDI, DIN, in, out and through, analog clock in and out at 24 or 48 ppq, an individual out for each of the voices, and a stereo out, which is what I'll be using today. On the front panel here, we've got the power volume knob, so this turns the machine on and off. So we'll turn it on. We'll see in the display here, operating system version 012, that's the latest firmware version. I'll wind the power volume knob all the way up, which is where I typically have it. Now, if this machine looks a little different from yours, be not alarmed. I have a habit, maybe a bad habit, of replacing the knobs. I've also sprayed the side panels black. But other than that, it's a dog standard DR-2. This is an all-digital drum synth. It's got 6 channels. A lot of the basics are fairly obvious. Volume slider for each of the 6 channels. Button underneath selects that channel and also plays the sound. As you change it, if you've got a pattern up, you'll see which steps are active for that particular channel. We've got BPM on the top here, and swing value, and swing of 50% is no swing. Those knobs are also used when you're using the menu, which is why they also say select and value, although we use the menu surprisingly little. Along the bottom, we've got 16 step entry buttons, and you can see what steps are active as you change the channel. We've got the usual record, stop and play buttons here. As you'd expect, hit play, select an instrument. You can add or subtract steps. And you notice we've also got LED lights between the 16 steps, there for the 30-second notes, and to get to them you press the 16 30-second button. If you hold it down, now you can add in 30-second notes. So you see those lights go on. If you want the regular 16s, well, that's just what normal operation is. If you want to delete those 30-second notes, then you hold the button down again. So all reasonably obvious so far, and having got this far, you've probably already hit play and started to twiddle the knobs for some time, because that's where a lot of the fun is. And probably you want to hear all the different sound models. So to change the models on a particular channel, we've got the model button here. So you select the channel that you want to change it for, hit the model button. If you want to go back, we've got the shift button here, which we'll be using quite a lot. So you go shift model, and that takes us back one in the menus, or forward. Now there's 21 starting models, even though the manual, which is, I must say, a very comprehensive, a very good manual, only lists 17. Well, that's because the developer keeps adding new ones and is open to suggestions, which is very nice. At the moment there are 5 bass drums, 4 snares, 4 metal, 2 claps, 2 toms and 4 percussion models. As with all drum machines, there's the speaker sound and then the sound that you're going to hear in the headphones. Well, that's stating the obvious, but I think the better the drum machine is, the more important it is to live equally in these two worlds. On simple preset style drum machines where you can't really vary the sounds very much, you don't really need to check anything in headphones, because you know you're not going to stray into any strange territory. But on complex machines, it's good to make sure, for example, that you're not getting some incredibly low, long amplitude tail that maybe you're not going to hear through the speakers. Now, all the knobs in this middle section here, in the 3 sections, affect the sound. The top section is pitch. The side section here is the amp, and the middle section are mystery knobs, which change for every model. Oh no, you may say, a mystery mixed selection of knobs, but Mystery knobs actually don't matter much when you've got a display, because we can go here, analog snare, noise decay, noise volume, oscillator 2 pitch, oscillator 2 decay, and so on. So all the time the screen is going to tell you what's going on. And that touches on something I think is very fundamental, in that screens for me really only come in two flavours, no matter how big or small they are. There are screens which constantly demand your attention, so to do things you've got to keep referring to it, you've got to back in and out of menus or adjust values. And then there are screens which mostly function to give you useful information, a bit like tool tips in software. And I think that's how the DR2 works. You adjust a knob, you press a button, tap a shortcut, and the screen will tell you what's happening. And after a while, you don't even need to look. You also get a little reference card for that, which has model parameters and also key and knob controls. But the front panel here is absolutely alive with shortcuts, and you may think that could be a bit tedious. You know, you've got to remember all these different things, but I think after just a few hours with the machine, you'll be zipping around accessing all sorts of stuff, which on other machines can be buried so deep it's not worth the twiddle. Now, I'm not going to go through all the 21 sound models and the parameters in this video, because that's a huge area in itself, and it's sort of fun just to discover it yourself and prod through the various parameters. But there is one area that I found very interesting, and that's the envelope knobs, both for the amp and the pitch. They're called curve. Now, on each of these there's actually 5 envelope positions to choose from. So it's worth exploring them with a gentle hand just to see what they do. Just like on a synth where you've got the amp and filter envelopes, and that's really the guts of any sound, the amp and pitch envelopes here really determine the detailed beauty and, well, as well as the guts of any drum sound. So now that you've had a bit of a fiddle, played around with the controls, change the models on various instruments, which is a heck of a lot of fun, but you'll want to do more. And the machine comes preloaded with a couple of banks of basic demo tracks and kits. They can all be overwritten or modified, but it's fun to explore them as well. Like almost everything with the DR2, there's the menu way and the shortcut way. Here's the shortcut way to change patterns. Hold the pattern button, press the bank, or bank 1, pattern 1, that's where we are at the moment. Let's say we want to go to the next pattern in the first bank here, so 4 banks. Pattern 2, let's say we want to change the drum kit. Bank 1, drum kit 2. So instant and simple, and now perhaps this display makes more sense as well. Across the top here, D is the drum kit, P is the pattern, S is the song, so we can see we're on drum kit 2, pattern 2, and song nothing, because we're not in song mode. Let's see what this pattern is. And of course, you can change the pattern with the drum kit. So you can change around what goes with what. So drum kit 2 with pattern 3, or pattern 4 with drum kit 8. Of course, who knows what you might end up with. But generally speaking, the demo material is set up so that the pattern and the drum kit go together. Now, as you go through these, you may notice that some of them are longer than 1 bar, in which case I'll show you the progress here as they move through all 4 bars. Now, you may not want them to move through 4 bars, you might just want first 2 bars, or you might want just 1 bar. So shift and the number of bars you want. So now it's sitting looping on that 1 bar. So that controls the overall length of the pattern, but within that pattern you may want separate instruments, that one's muted, to have a different length. So you do the same sort of thing, hold down the one that you want to restrict, and press however many you want it to go. Don't make the mistake I did though and hit 16 and think, oh well, that'll be 16 steps. You're going to hit the number 1. That's 1 less is what you get. So you hit 9 and you've got 8. 13, you've got 12. 16 and you got 15. And then each track can have a different number of steps. And you could change the drum kit if you wanted, and even change the pattern. One other thing you may have noticed in doing that is that if you keep it playing and you change the pattern, then the new pattern will inherit whatever BPM and swing values you started with. So even though every pattern can have their own particular speed and swing value, of course, if you just go through them while it's playing, it'll inherit things. To get the actual value of whatever that happens to be, you need to stop and play. Let's say, happily playing this, you want to mute some parts, hold the shift button, press the part. The LED still shows what channel you're currently on. Shift to unmute. When you stopped and you hit one of these buttons, obviously you hear the sound for that channel and the display shows you the model. When you're in play mode, it just changes the channel, but it doesn't activate the sound. If you want to hear the sound, though, when you do that, you just press play again. And now hear it as well. Now if you were in record mode, that would happen by default. So you see the display's changed there. So after having loaded various patterns and drum kits, that 1 bar. There you are. Not really a great fan of that. There we are. Take that. So let's say we've been twiddling around for a while, and through the miracle of random chance we've come up with something we really like. Well, this is usually the grim moment for me, because often I take in just enough instruction to start twiddling and have fun, and then when I get something good I go, oh no, because I haven't got so far as to really know how to save things. Fortunately here it's all very simple. If you want to save a pattern, and the record button you see in the display there, pattern saved. If we like the drum set that we've done, hold down drum set, press record, drum set saved. So That's as simple as that. So to load, pattern 4, drum kit 4. Change a few things, blah, 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 blah. Now we think that's fantastic. We want to save it. Save the pattern, record, drum set, record. So couldn't be simpler than that. Well, you might say, that's all very well if you want to save it where you are, because by default it just saves over the top of where you are. So we're on drum kit 4 and pattern 4, and if we save the pattern or save the kit, then that's where it's going to save. But maybe we don't want to save it there. Maybe we've created something new and exciting. So let's say we want to save the pattern somewhere else. So hit the pattern button. This is where we've actually got to use the menu. Press the menu button once, load, no, twice. We're on save. Save pattern. Yes, we will, but where? Let's select a spot. Let's save it in number 12. There we are. What about the drum kit? Well, press the drum kit button. 2 taps gets us to save. Where will we save it? Number 12, so they all line up. But how about that quick method? That is just fantastic. And those sort of shortcuts are really at the heart of operating the DR2. So here we are back on pattern 1 and kit number 1. And just want to demo one of the shortcuts I really like. We're on this channel here, which is modified clap sound. Now if we go Shift Y, this is the tilt filter. To the left is the low pass. To the right is high pass. And you get that tilt filter control for every channel, as well as all sorts of other lovely things. But that's just one in particular I really like. I mean, a lot of the models have 1 or 2 filters already in them, and then you can add the tilt filter on top. There's also a parametric EQ, but we'll get to that another time. Let's load something a bit different. Let's go into bank 2, pattern 1, drum kit, bank 2, pattern 1. Let's see what we've got here. Okay. Let's mute some of those things. Now to mute, we hold down Shift. Restrict that to 1 bar. Now, that's all a bit busy and maybe not to your liking. It's not to my liking either. So let's clear some of those channels. We've got the no button up here. So we go no, 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 and no. Well, come to that, no to you too. So we've cleared that pattern. That's a very good one to remember. The no button, hit a channel, and that channel is cleared. Now instead of clearing that channel or instrument, you might want to load the initialized default pattern. Not sure why you'd want to, but let's say that's what you want to do. So go to pattern, press the menu, load, no, save, no, 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 initialize. Okay, initialize pattern. Now it'll come up with initialize pattern rather than anything else because we hit the pattern button first. So initialize pattern, it says 4 on the floor. Okay. So there's your initialized pattern. Now if we hit drum set, go through until we see initialized. And because we hit drum set, now we get initialized drum set. Yes. So now this is the default pattern with the default drum kit. You might go, well, I don't like you either. No, 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 no. Well, alright, I'll keep you. And copy and paste is another basic function, and of course there's shortcuts for that. Basically the record button is copy, and the play button, P for play, P for paste, is the paste button. So let's say we think this first bar is just fantastic. Well, wouldn't want to lose that. So the bar, copy, says copy from 1 to 16 to this bar. And yes, we've got it, well, just what we wanted. Now it's the same sort of thing with the instruments. Let's say we wanted another copy of this clap, so copy drum to here, to drum C. So now we've got a copy of that instrument. Well, let's say we wanted some random content in there. We couldn't be bothered to think of anything ourselves. Here's a channel, random button, press the channel. Now, it's filled it up with some random content. In fact, why not fill them all? Eek. Maybe we should go back and delete just a few. You're a bit busy, aren't you? So the random fill can give you some pretty good inspiration there, but there's another random function which I really like. Let's just turn you down a little bit. Here we are on the bass drum. Now if we hold down random and go select, you see that percentage? That's the percentage chance now that any particular step will get a bass drum hit. You can even do something like this. Let's go, no, 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 no. There's nothing now except our slight extra random chance of a hit on the bass drum channel, but over here, okay, we've got that sound. Let's give that a random chance of hitting. Not too high. And we'll give you a random chance of hitting, and we'll give you a random chance of hitting. We'll give you a much higher random chance of hitting. And if you want to cancel the randomization on an instrument, just go back to the random button and give it a double click. So that's a bit of fun. One more random thing which I really like is that you can have a randomized parameter, one parameter per voice, which you can randomize. So here we are on these hand claps. Hold down the random button, and now which parameter do you want to randomize? Well, let's do pitch, and you see here the randomized amount, negative from where it is or positive from where it is, so you can give it a randomized range. Let's have a listen. So now, as well as having random hits, let's give it a couple of actual hits. But now we've got randomized pitch as well. So while there are no LFOs on the DR2, you could certainly use just little bits of random variation on a particular parameter and have that on every voice, and suddenly you've got a very humanized kit. Now, there are other things you can do with the random button, but we'll look at that next time. One other thing perhaps it would be good to look at is parameter locks. Let's see, what's a good one? There's something that's got a few. Things. So to get a parameter lock going, just choose a step and twiddle a parameter. So, no need to go into that in great detail, but it works exactly how you would think it works, in that you hold a step, you change value, and that's now what you've got. Obviously that's stored as part of the pattern. Now you've only got 64 parameter locks per pattern, which perhaps isn't a huge amount. So as well as the random function to get variation happening and using parameter locks, there's something else that you can use as well, and that is the alpha and beta channels, and every voice has its alpha and beta channel. So let's clear this pattern. No, and no. So nothing happening there. Let's put in the bleeding obvious for a start. We've got this here. This is a big good example. So a couple in there. So okay. So there we've got something incredibly simple. And if you look at the channels, they're all on the alpha channel by default. Now, the beta channel is just a variation of that alpha sound, and again you can have one parameter. So there's our basic sound. We're on the beta channel, so for this let's choose, say, amplitude decay. So now we've got that as the basic sound and that as the beta sound. So on the alpha channel we've got steps here and here. On the beta channel we've got nothing, so let's put one here and there. Now if we change the alpha channel value, then those beta versions will be relative to whatever the alpha channel master is. We're seeing all the steps at the moment in alpha mode. If you just want to see the alpha steps specifically, hold down the alpha button. If you want to see the beta steps, hold down the beta button. You can still only have one sound per step, so you can't have an alpha and a beta on the same step, but you can see how you can use this for variations, the most obvious ones of course being hats, but lots of other things you can do, because in the beta mode you can choose whatever parameter you like. Oops, turn that down to there. So maybe instead we would want the beta channel to be panning. Let's have the alpha channel to here. Or for example, you could make a bass instrument sound. Maybe then you could copy the channel, and then on the alpha here you could have that, and then on the beta you might have a different tuning. Then on your copied instrument you might have a different tuning again. So now you've got 4 notes. I mean, it could be any parameter you like, but it does give you that certainty of what that parameter value is going to be, whereas perhaps if you did it all with parameter locks, you're sort of individually winding it in each time. The other thing that's worth considering is that when you do sound variations as alpha and beta, it's part of the drum kit, whereas parameter locks are going to be part of the pattern. So all this, and it's still just the beginning of the fun. We haven't even got to the reverse, the brakes, the flams, the tuplets, and the various intricacies that go with them. There's also things like per channel distortion, there's the parametric EQ, there's a per channel compressor with sidechain. Then there's things like accents, velocity, effects, send and return. There's the Euclidean generator and the weirdness of the 2 polyrhythmic clocks. That's for next time. Lots more fun awaits. Until then, see ya.